Big UFC news over the weekend. Gennady Golovkin, of course, defeating Canelo Alvarez in boxing. We covered that at length. And if you did not see our live stream as well, we were here working for all of you on Saturday evening into the wee hours of the Los Angeles time zone, which is what?
3 hours beyond the East Coast time
Wrong,
zone.
Pacific.
Still 3 hours beyond the East Coast time zone. Still correct.
Nonetheless, it was a half-truth.
It was specific time, okay? Very specific.
In the UFC, unfortunately, my main point was it was overshadowed by what happened with Golovkin and Canelo. Now, Luke Rockhold got a very good win and a very much needed win as he had a 15-month layoff against David Branch. The question is, as he won in 2 rounds, not even a full 2 rounds.
Correct.
Do you believe that he should get the winner of Bisping GSP? Should the winner of that fight automatically by default? I'm sorry?
There already is a set fight between, so they can unify.
No, I know. I'm
the
asking you who you believe.
Well, there's okay. So
the unification bout is against Robert Whitaker, who unfortunately has an injury, so we got to wait for him to get.
So we got to wait.
I'm just asking, in your hypothetical world of the UFC, should Bisping GSP, should that winner, of course, face Robert Whitaker, but should Luke Rockhold find a way in?
Yes, I think he should. So, for one, who else would he fight? One of the other options would be, although not really deserving, even though he is coming off a win, Chris Weidman, because he's lost 3 of his last 4, even though the most recent was a victory.
But it wasn't even against a natural middleweight.
I know.
Kelvin Gastelum.
Thank you, Gastelum. Thank you. So, in addition to that, there's something that Rockhold could do and should do, and I think would make a really compelling fight, although he doesn't want to.
He does not want to.
He said he wants to make his move up to 205 at light heavyweight. He said he wants to do that when Cormier is done because he feels like he can dominate that division with Cormier outside of it. Now, I don't think there's any harm. Let's say it plays out like this. Let's say because of Whitaker's injury, he does get that title fight, right, between the winner of Bisping GSP, which I'd be very surprised if GSP won. I think Bisping is, by all accounts, should, in quote, smoke GSP out of the octagon. Should. It's been a...
Never know.
Granted,
Viking.
Joe Rogan and those of Dominic Cruz will tell you ring rust does not exist. So if that's the case, GSP, by all means. If that's your argument against him, is he's not been in the octagon in X amount of years.
I'm going to turn this way, by the way.
So, my point being,
yes,
I think you take you take that title fight while Whitaker's injured. Why not? Keep yourself active. And you're saying for winner of GSP Bisping, because for one, if Rockhold's smart, there's money in that fight. And then go up and look, Cormier is at the end of his career. We know that. He doesn't have that many more years left. I don't see any harm in fighting and losing to Cormier. If he were to lose to Cormier. There's definitely a ton to gain by winning the belt, but the point being is if you go up and you fight Cormier and you even just hold your own, well, then you're already in the division. You got to fight a legend. You might have gotten to see a legend out for his last victory, which is very respectable, or you might win and take the belt from a legend in, I would think, a respectful manner, unlike the cheating S-bag that John Jones is. So I think there's a
shitbag, right?
Scum.
Scum.
Yeah.
See, you could go many ways with
the
S-bag.
You really could. You really could.
There are tons of ways.
Ball bag. I like Francis's word. I think Rockhold has a lot.
Word.
What's that? Jack bag.
Dubious.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Dubious.
Just kidding.
I think Rockhold has a lot of leverage over his next decision because he's compelling.
I don't know if I agree with that.
He's not a superstar, but he's compelling, and he has a lot of different options open to him.
He was not necessarily a superstar. He was not necessarily a superstar. See, it's more conversational, isn't it?
It's just weird.
Right. You want to do the rest of the segment? Here's what I will fight anybody.
I like that.
I will fight anybody anytime.
Luke Rockhold should get out there and see. It doesn't sound good in an American accent.
No.
Fight anybody.
Fight anybody. Luke Rockhold was obviously the middleweight champion. It was a roughly 10-day notice when Michael Bisping came in as a late alternate, took on Luke Rockhold, knocked him out. Violent.
1 minute and 24 seconds.
Violent knockout. Now, my opinion, to many Twitter users calling it a lucky punch, there's no such thing in fighting. No such thing as a lucky punch unless your eyes are in the back of your head, so you literally look like this and you're just swinging. That's what I would call a lucky punch.
How do you fight?
Swordsman!
TYT fencing. That's what we have.
Can you imagine fencing?
You know, there's a...
With this group of talent in this office?
Next door to our studio is a fencing club.
Let's get trained.
I swear to God.
Let's get trained.
There's a fencing club.
So look, here's my thing. I'm bringing it back. I like Luke Rockhold. I think it's #strategy that he's not going to go up to light heavyweight because I think there's a certain level of respect, and also he just knows he's not a fine-tuned machine for the light heavyweight division.
No, but
so
he's
let's say
top game, strong, like
not
ox.
Cormier.
Cormier
is the best.
Yeah, but
wrestler
I think Rockhold
has to offer. So look,
sweep through the forums. Rockhold's a top 5 top game guy in the game.
I think he's arguably top 3, but it also. Again, if you go up against the best, yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't think he has enough to upend Daniel Cormier, but nonetheless, we're getting a little off topic here. Cormier, okay, it's just strategy that he doesn't want to go up to light heavyweight because Daniel Cormier is the guy that nobody wants to face because he's proven already how good he is in 2 different weight classes.
Fact.
Luke Rockhold should, even though he doesn't want to because it's not the money fight, go up against Chris Weidman, show what he can do, or if you don't want to do it once again because they already had that bout, go up against Yoel Romero and show me a little something that you can come back from a 15-month layoff. Yeah, he dealt with an onslaught of punches in the first round from David Branch, but then he just dominated him on the ground. Go up against Romero, who looks ageless, win, and then knowing the warrior that Romero is, the floodgates open with the options that Luke Rockhold could possibly have.
It's a good matchup. Romero's a scary guy to fight always.
Very scary guy to fight. But he is coming off a loss.
You're putting a lot on the line because you can't lose that fight without losing all your leverage.
You could say that about Chris Weidman too.
You wouldn't lose to Chris. I don't think you'd lose to Chris Weidman. I think he hasn't.
Probably not. It's not as scary of a fight, but no matter
what,
what,
it's the easier of the choices.
To what you just said, it's a must-win fight. No matter what Luke Rockhold does from here on out, it's almost a must-win. Because if he loses one time, granted the Weidman loss would be worse than the Romero loss, it's still a loss, and you're automatically going to drop in the rankings, and then you're not going to be considered for the next
title fight
contender. So arguably, and this is something I don't want to see, but the best thing for Luke Rockhold could be to just wait, to just sit on his hands, wait and see how Bisping and GSP play out.
You just take the winner of Bisping versus Whitaker. Yeah. Or GSP versus Whitaker.
I was going to say
or GSP, hypothetically.
We think Bisping's going to win, but you never know in the fight game. So technically what he could do is take like a year off, even though it seems stupid because he's 32. Take a year off and then await how the dominoes fall in the middleweight division.
Yeah, because think about it. It might be more than a year if you're waiting.
Here's another facet to it. GSP wins, he doesn't have to face Luke Rockhold because he's already proven that he holds all the cards of the UFC deck. He talked his way after being on this much of a layoff. So if he doesn't want to face Luke Rockhold, he already talked his way into being a title contender in a division he's never competed in.
He was one of the main guys like spearing up for the union to fight the UFC, to have a fighters union for the UFC, which fizzled out very quickly.
Yeah, very.
And was extremely monumental and important for them to get done so the fighters had some kind of protection and they couldn't get it done. Even more interestingly, it was being somehow led or consulted in a way by Bellator MMA's founder or current president or former UFC executive. It was a lot of dirt going on.
It's a lot of titles.
A lot of sand throwing. A lot of shit bagging.
Like a bag of sand.
Like bags of sand. You've never had sex before.
Who do you want Luke Rockhold to face next? Should he get the winner of Bisping GSP? Robert Whitaker obviously going to get it, though he is dealing with an injury. So let's say hypothetically he is still on the shelf. So should Luke Rockhold get the winner? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and subscribe to TYT Sports. Don't be a dick.